Hello, everyone. We are team number 5. My name is Caroline, and my teammates Taylor, Mary, Alexandra, and I will be discussing the Green Monday campaign in South Africa by the Humane Society International. Humane Society International is a section of the Humane Society organization and is a nonprofit dedicated to ending the cruelty of animals and help the welfare of all animals. South Africa has approximately 1 billion land animals that are raised annually of the 77 billion raised for food consumption in the world. The Green Monday campaign is aimed to improve human health, benefit animals, and safeguard the environment by encouraging people to no longer eat any meat, dairy, or eggs on Mondays. By raising the awareness of Green Monday, the cruelty of animals on farms, water usage, and human health would be drastically improved. In order to better understand the mission behind this campaign, it's vital to understand the history and vision behind Humane Society International. Humane Society International's mission is to create a safe and sustainable environment for animals around the world. Their ultimate goal is to see a comprehensive change in human behavior, thus protecting wildlife and their habitats. Their vision is to envision a world in which people meet the physical and emotional needs of domestic animals, protect wild animals in their environments, and change their interaction with other animals and their environments from exploitation and harm to respect and compassion. Humane Society International values educating and advocating for changes in human behavior that will create a more humane and sustainable environment for animals around the world. For over 25 years, the Humane Society International has been working to protect animals, whether that be through science, research, activism, and even hands-on programs. The Humane Society International was created by the Humane Society of the United States in 1991. And increased globalization led to the Humane Society of the United States formally creating an international organization to help protect all animals around the world and not just those in the United States. As well as understanding the history behind the Humane Society International, it's vital to have a basic understanding of South African history before we really get into analyzing this campaign. South Africa is a diverse nation, often called the Rainbow Nation, because of its multicultural and multilingual nature. Their constitution recognizes 11 official languages, with English being the mother tongue of only 8.2% of the population, despite it being the most widely used for public relations campaigns and publicity. The Dutch colonized South Africa in 1656. Then in 1806, the British seized the Cape of Good Hope and forced the Dutch to move north. The discovery of precious jewels in the late 1800s influenced wealth and immigration to the country. South Africa declared its independence in 1961 and is now currently under democratic rule after becoming desegregated in 1994. Nelson Mandela, who I'm sure many of you have heard of, influenced the country towards democratic rule, and the African National Congress have been governing ever since. Economically, the country suffers from high unemployment despite being the leading power in sub-Saharan Africa. The economy was transformed under the democratic rule of Nelson Mandela to a more capitalist and free market society. Crime, corruption, and HIV and AIDS are prevalent in this nation. The media and communication practices in South Africa are widely influenced by Western practices, while still maintaining the indigenous African communication practices. Previously, public relations was not seen as a necessary or even prominent function of South African government and society. However, since the transition of power in 1994, it is seen as an important management function with a wide range of communication activities, according to Freytag and Stokes. After researching and analyzing South African culture, our group came to the conclusion that South Africa is indeed a high-context culture. This means that time is open and flexible, and often nonverbal cues are used in communication, among many other things. Hofstede has 6 cultural dimensions that help any communications practitioner better understand the culture that they will be working in. From the Hofstede website and through our group's own analyzations, the following information on Hofstede's cultural dimensions was distinguished and analyzed. The first of the cultural dimensions, power distance, deals with the idea that not every individual in the society is equal. South Africa has a score of 49 in this category, which means that hierarchy is an idea that is widely accepted. Everyone has a place in society. Individualism refers to how much a society has an I or a we mentality. South Africa scored a 65, so they are an individualist society in which everyone looks out for themselves and their immediate family. Masculinity versus femininity essentially refers to what motivates people, whether that be striving to be the best, masculinity, or genuinely enjoying what you do, femininity. South Africa scored a 63 in this category, which means that they are a masculine society, where they are focused on success as the end goal. Uncertainty avoidance deals with the idea of how a culture will perceive the future and the ambiguity of it. With a score of 49, South Africa tolerates a deviation from the everyday schedule of life and has a more relaxed attitude towards life. Long-term orientation refers to how much a culture feels linked and respected to their past, while also handling and anticipating the challenges that the future may bring. In this dimension, South Africa scored a 34, meaning they have great respect for tradition and don't feel any urge to really plan or save the future. The final dimension, indulgence, refers to the extent in which people can control their desires and impulses. With a score of 63, South Africa prioritizes indulgence, leisure time, and are more willing to act on their impulses and desires. In the 2015 Corruption Perception Index, South Africa scored a 44 and was ranked 61 out of the 167 countries measured. The Corruption Perceptions Index measures how corrupt their public sectors are seen to be. We will be measuring the 2015 Corruption Perceptions Index since that is the year of the Green Monday campaign we will be analyzing in this presentation. Essentially, South Africa fell close to the middle of the spectrum score, but was slightly closer to the highly corrupt end of the spectrum compared to the very clean end. South Africa did not show much improvement with their scores compared to previous years. And since the Humane Society International is a nonprofit, the results of this index on the Humane Society International's campaign of Green Monday will not have a significant effect. So now that I've gone over the situation analysis for the campaign, I will pass things on to Taylor, where she will go over the primary and secondary audiences as well as the campaign overview.
Hello, my name is Taylor Higgins, and I am here to talk to you about the primary and secondary audiences utilized in this Green Monday campaign. The primary audience is the citizens of South Africa. They are the primary audience because these are the people who are most directly targeted, as this is a nationwide campaign that they are trying to get every single citizen in South Africa to reduce their harmful animal eating habits as well as harmful environmental factors by eating plant-based diets on Mondays instead of animal and dairy and other harmful food items. The secondary audience would be the South African farmers, as those are the ones who are most affected, as this can mean that they are no longer utilizing their harmful techniques as well as possibly losing money. The other secondary audience would be the government, as the government, by raising this much amount of awareness and showing that these people and citizens actually want the change, the government is more likely to look into making more environmentally friendly laws in order to help this campaign go even further. So some of the different things that the Greater Than Company, who was hired by the Humane Society International for this campaign in order to make this campaign be as successful as it was doing intensive research. They did a lot of out-of-the-box type of intensive research in order to make sure they fully understood what the Humane Society International wanted, as well as understood their audience. So the first thing they did was they began visiting farms in South Africa to see the issues that needed to be changed up close and personal. By doing this, they were able to have a one-on-one basis with farmers to see how they are using their techniques, what's actually harmful and harming the animals. The next thing they did was they utilized scientific evidence to find out the eating habits of those in South Africa so they could see how easily it would be for them to just change their diet to plant-based once a week. They often recommended eating Thai food or Mexican food, as these types of food use a lot of plant-based things. Another tactic that they decided to do was they were comparing themselves to other similar movements. Hong Kong recently also did a environmentally friendly animal type of campaign, and the Greater Than Company was able to look at Hong Kong's campaign and see what worked and did not work for that organization in order to make sure that this whole campaign was more run smoothly and also better suited for South Africa because they knew what worked and what did not. They also did research and found that social media influencers and celebrities are extremely trusted for their target audience. By doing this research, they were able to see who they needed to reach out to in order to make this organization and campaign even better than it was already. They also did more social media research and noticed that the environment in South Africa was constantly a trending topic in 2015 when this campaign was done, meaning that those in South Africa actually do care about the environment and wanted to help at this time, but they weren't exactly sure how or had opinions and wanted to find other ways to do this. The last thing they did was they targeted other like-minded nonprofits and organizations that subscribe to other types of matters and reached out to them and gained their support in order to help raise more awareness for their campaign in eating plant-based on Mondays rather than eating harmful products for the animals. All of these different approaches helped the Greater Than Company look more into their target audience and understand how to reach stakeholders as well as their audience in order to make this campaign better than it could have been. The next topic I'm going to discuss is an overview of the campaign. So the campaign's theme was to be engaging, positive, and feel good, so audiences could embrace this campaign with humor as a very normal tactic for the Greater Than Company to use during this campaign. It was very humorous ads in order to get the audience to chuckle, but also think about what they're eating and what they're doing to the environment. The tagline was simple: Green Monday. They asked their audiences to no longer make their Mondays blue, as that's a normal, common thing that people think about on Mondays, is that they dread going to work or school or things like that, and instead wanted to make it green and more happy because they're actually going to be helping the environment rather than being miserable about their Monday to come. So the goal utilized in this campaign was to create a campaign that was engaging, positive, and humorous so that they could receive a positive response from their audience. They didn't want to seem intimidating or scary to their audience. They wanted them to be humorous and positive, but also make sure that their message was heard. The Humane Society International had a 3-month launch period, and their main goals were to get 10 partners, 5 celebrities, 50 pieces of media coverage, at least 500 likes on Facebook, 100 followers on Twitter, 80 to 100 influencers, potential partners, and media to attend the launch and demonstrate how incredibly tasty a plant-based diet ours is, as well as launch a website and video in conjunction with the launch event date that was in October of 2015, and finally deliver on all campaign elements and requirements within the NGO budget. The Humane Society International was able to accomplish all of these things with the Greater Than Company's assistance. Some of the communication objectives were to have a successful launch, raise awareness of the issues resulting audiences being enticed to join the movement, and the criteria used to measure this was success were to achieve the client's goals. The campaign for Green Monday was able to reach the majority of its objectives because they had a successful launch and they raised awareness of what would happen if you joined the movement and the greatness that could happen with this. In order to reach more of a target audience and other targets of audience in any age, the Greater Than Company decided to use different types of communications to get the message across to every single audience possible. They began using corporate ID, TV, radio, print and online media, social media, a video, media, announcements, letters, websites, influencers, celebrities, bloggers, a launch event, and invitations, and press packs. By utilizing all of these different types of communications, the South Africa Humane Society International Green Monday campaign was able to reach so many more people than they could have if they just stuck to TV or radio. And by having the budget to do this, they were able to raise even more awareness, especially with the help of the social media and influencers, because that was something that their main target audience really trusted, as I spoke on earlier. And by being able to reach all of these different types of communications, this campaign was able to become even better than it could have been.
Hi, today I want to talk to you about the implementation and use of message and communication tools used by the Green Monday campaign. Originated by the Humane Society International, it started with a 7-day pre-launch Facebook campaign that promoted the event using original artwork of animated vegetables and other plants to get users and social media people excited about the event. It was then followed by a 2-minute video that was posted through Vimeo that again used the same characters and vegetables and created a interactive and very happy video of why we should stop eating meat, what the campaign was, and environmental effects that actually are one of the main reasons why they implemented this campaign. Along with this, they did very extensive work on social media. So other than the pre-launch on Facebook, they also did and posted several memes, plant-based recipes, and other animal facts on all social media accounts. And in fact, their Facebook ended up being one of the most successful ones with gaining over 1,000 likes. The other step was to reach out to influencers and celebrities in the area, which they did successfully and garnered 19 celebrities to speak on the behalf of Green Monday and then post on their separate social media accounts. In fact, some of these celebrities also were able to secure interviews with major news outlets in South Africa and talk about why this was such an important program. Then they also were able to do a launch party, which then also had the influencers and included a plant-based diet made by a very famous chef in South Africa. This was also partnered with their own website that again included all of the tips of how to eat less meat, the recipes, and again the 2-minute Vimeo video. Using all these things, they were able to garner media outlets such as newspapers, magazines, blogs, social media accounts, and radio. And also were able to utilize the fact that meat consumption in South Africa is actually growing. And I'll continue on why and what these factors are in the next slide. Hi, so now I'm going to talk about the current events that actually affected this campaign. One of the biggest effects that they have cited in this campaign is the fact that meat prices were actually decreasing when the campaign was happening. And using these news headlines of meat decreasing, they were actually able to send press releases around the title, "What is the real cost of meat?" So explaining how it's not just the price, but also the environmental effects, which also go into the second current events. Global warming is one of the biggest reasons of this campaign, and the reason why it has been implemented is because of how severe the environmental effects of animal farming can be on the environment, and especially that of South Africa. As described in their videos several times, they've talked about how CO2 emissions rise, erosion, the excessive use of water when it comes to feeding these animals and keeping with their livelihood has affected the earth as a whole. And so the main goal of this campaign was to reduce the meat consumption, but also help and explain why it is such an environmental issue. And because, in fact, another current event is the fact that meat prices or meat consumption in South Africa have grown over the last 15 years, and are only expected to grow higher. So this was the perfect time for them to come in and explain why we should be eating less meat. Now I'm going to talk to you about the circuit of culture and how it affected the Green Monday campaign. Starting off with the regulation, Humane Society International was lucky enough not to have to be affected that much about regulation. So they were able to secure the media coverage that they wanted, post what they wanted on social media without government oversight or any regulation that really affected their campaign. Next is the representation. So Humane Society International, knowing the cultural differences that had happened in the past of South Africa, was able to treat South Africans with full respect their culture, respect the fact that they had that apartheid nature in the past and work past it, and no cultural differences arised in the campaign. Next is the identity. Humane Society International already had a very strong identity internationally, but they also had it in South Africa. So they had already been an organization that had been around for many years, had already spoken about many different animal rights topics in the past, and had done several campaigns in South Africa previous to the 2015 Green Monday one. Next is the production. The Green Monday campaign was able to produce media and their campaign based around the hashtag Green Monday SA. And using these social media posts, these news outlets, and their own websites and social media accounts, they were able to create a message of eating no meat products on Monday. And then this was consumed through consumption of the audience, our key audience. And in fact, the campaign was very successful on social media, at least. There was over 1,000 likes on Facebook, and it spread through the community, and it created a conversation of how much does meat really cost, and again, how should we reduce our meat consumption. So as a whole, it was a very successful campaign.
Hi, my name is Alexandra, and I will be doing the evaluation. So, the Humane Society International created awareness of Green Monday and successfully launched the Green Monday campaign to drive awareness of the issues of animal agriculture and the environment, animal welfare, human health, and to entice audience to join the movement. The campaign generated 50 pieces of media which resulted in 100 positive pieces that included television, radio, print, and online media. Media coverage generated huge ROI for Humane Society International and earned significant media and national reach, which overachieved the set objectives, which included in-depth coverage with the majority of the media providing full features, along with 11 radio interviews. There was substantial coverage in the Cape Town region, which earned great national exposure and awareness. Stakeholders approached and wanted to join and promote. Green Monday South Africa became the go-to expert on meat reduction, plant-based eating, and animal welfare. PUR4404 and Women's Health proactively requested weekly and fortnightly content partnerships. there was 100% positive and neutral sentiment with 100% of coverage generated by the media. 95% of key messages were implemented on social media, which resulted in 90 posts using hashtag Green Monday SA. The campaign achieved 500 likes on Facebook, 100 followers on Twitter, and was able to get 10 partners on board. The campaign success included 5 celebrities endorsements, which included 2 international celebrities, such as Hollywood actress Shannon Elizabeth and Australian MasterChef Renee Smith. The campaign launched a website and a video, which conjunction to the launch of the event. The delivery of the campaign was within NGO budget, which resulted in under budget, which resulted in 7% saving, which was an overachievement to the objective. In raising awareness, the campaign gathered 80 to 100 influencers, potential partners, media to attend the launch of the event to demonstrate how delicious plant food-based dishes are. The objective was to gain 100 attendees the day of the launch to join the Green Monday movement, which resulted in 1,666 to join the movement. The campaign achieved the set objectives. However, the results in relation to meat reductions were undetermined due to meat statistics. That was the evaluation. Now I will move on to the conclusion. So I will continue with the conclusion. So to conclude, Green Monday campaign in South Africa established a global movement that was promoted by the Humane Society International to show awareness of the troubles of the environment that include animal agriculture, which is one of the leading contributors to greenhouse gases, water pollution, and land use. By analyzing the Green Monday campaign, we found that the Humane Society International was in a unique position to lead towards a more humane, sustainable, and equitable food system for its own citizens. The necessary goal was to raise awareness to save animals who are abused in factories by empowering companies and individuals to make a more socially and environmentally responsible choices. The idea was simple: 1 day per week, eat plant-based foods, and encourage others to do the same. In order to successfully launch an international campaign, we recognize a number of challenges, such as South Africa's negative image in the media, no best practice or awareness around the cause. But after some research and planning, we recognized our target audience, which were citizens of South Africa, farmers of South Africa, and South Africa government officials. South African officials. We set objectives, which included different communication channels to effectively communicate the message to the target audience to earn major media and national reach. Group 1 recognized the importance of understanding the culture of South Africa, especially Cape Town. We recognized that it was a high context culture, and we were aware of the hosted culture dimension for South Africa. The campaign's goal was to create an engaging and positive, humorous campaign with a well-received response. We were able to successfully launch the campaign and raise awareness. This was the end of our presentation. Thank you.